Hey guys, welcome back to Serial at Midnight. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I'm talking to Jeff Rauseo. You know him from Films at Home. He has now written this wonderful book, Lost in the Stream: How Algorithms Redefine the Way Movies Are Made and Watched. Jeff, it's good to talk to you again, man.
It's good to talk to you, man. It's been a minute. I'm happy to be back on here.
You were very nice to me in this book, and you have wrote me a little inscription like page 187, and I turned to page 187. I was like, "Holy cow!" You
You're in
really,
there.
in wrestling terminology, you really put me over in the book. I appreciate that.
No, man, you deserved it. That was all, a lot of our conversations and stuff that we've had over the years went into
Well,
that book and my thinking. So appreciate it.
that's very kind of you to say that. I read this in one sitting, one single sitting.
I love it.
And it's such an interesting, it's important in the times that we live in now. Okay, let's go back here. So the last time I talked to you, you were going to you were changing your channel name from Films at Home to Jeff Rossio,
Yep.
and you were embarking on like a brave new world of trying to expand your focus and putting yourself before the name Films at Home and before talking about new releases and all this stuff. And here we are all these months later. There's a book to show for it. Talk to me just a little bit about what things have looked like for you. And I don't know how long it's been, but 18 months or something like that. It's been a while. It's been
Yeah, probably.
what just bring me up to speed.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's been really interesting how the different like platforms have reacted. So YouTube, I feel like there were a lot of people when you build this YouTube and the algorithm is like, do this, and then you try to do something different, you lose people. And I've had people like literally be like, where have you been on YouTube? And I'm like, well, I have uploaded like dozens of videos and you just haven't seen them. Like that's just part of the game and things changed. And YouTube seemed to hit me harder than other platforms like Instagram, like 18 months ago when we talked. I think it was, I don't know how many followers I have, but we're pushing like 500,000 now and has found a new audience there about people who are looking for like different movie recommendations, those hidden gems, like stuff outside the algorithm. So I don't know. TikTok's kind of all over the place, but by changing the name, what I found was that like I personally am getting a little more recognition. Like the publisher reached out to me for that book and like found me.
Mm.
I don't know if that happens when I'm just kind of the Films at Home guy. Like because it was kind of abstract and people I think disconnect. They're like it's Films at Home and that channel does this. But like I am not just a channel, like I'm a person.
Isn't that really
So,
hard to get people to understand? Because
yeah,
the moment you stop covering every new steelbook that comes out or
right.
whatever, people are like, "You've changed, man," or they don't.
Right.
It's like they just
Well, and
don't.
they're right. I did change,
Well,
but
you
why
know
is that a
what?
bad
If you're
thing?
doing the same thing for years, I mean, let's hope that you do change. Let's hope that
Right.
you do grow and expand into other areas.
Right.
That's just,
That's the way I thought about it. It was just like
yeah,
it's a natural evolution of like you can only talk about the same thing for so long.
right.
And I found that niche, but like I am a more complex person than just somebody who opens up steelbooks. Like there, there is a little more to me. And the only reason I'm even doing that, because I love movies and I love entertainment and I'm fascinated by this industry. So like expanding to talk about more of that and write some more. Like I started the Substack blog and started writing more under my own name and like trying to get stuff out there. So like
Can I ask you
that's
how Substack has, do you like creating on Substack?
I like how easy it was for me to set up. I could, I had an email newsletter list that I could move over there super easily. Like they let you set up a blog easily. So especially I kind of know what I'm doing. I could have set up a website being a marketing guy who works on websites every day, but I was like, I don't want to spend the time. I do that all day. So Substack just kind of lets you start and like gives you the blog and is like, here it is. Like, granted, you're on their platform and stuff, but I got a custom domain. You go to jeffrossio.com, like it's my website. It's just Substack. So I don't know. The discoverability is nice too. Like they have a platform of like other writers that you can connect with and grow on. So it's been cool. It's super easy to use. And that was the biggest thing. It's like, if I'm going to do this, I want to be able to just write and hit publish and not worry about all the other stuff.
Right.
So I give them props for that.
Well, what about some of the other? You talking about YouTube? We're talking about silos, really.
Yeah.
What were some? How did some of the other platforms react to your change?
Instagram was really cool about like I had this core audience of I would say like 20,000 followers for years. Like I was just kind of stuck there for a long time. And that core audience is still there, but I have found so many more people who have become interested, and I have so many more messages now of like, hey, like I had no idea that like Blu-rays were still a thing. And like just because I'm kind of passively
Mhm.
including it in other content that's more wider reach, like people are finding this and finding new hobbies and like finding new movies. So it's been really cool on Instagram to connect with a lot of people that way.
I don't think that the Blu-ray buying audience realizes what a small segment of the movie fandom they are. They think that they
Tiny.
control the entire market. I'm like, you guys are like, I don't know, it's probably not even 1%. I mean, people are not buying discs. They're
Yeah.
watching movies on stream. So I am at the post office like every single day, and I go to the post office yesterday, and the guy goes, "What's in the box?" Because I send things media mail, and the guy goes, "What's
Yeah.
in the box?" I was like, "These are all DVDs." Now they're actually Blu-rays and 4Ks, but I say DVDs because he doesn't know what
Right.
Blu-rays and 4Ks are. And he goes, "Is that still a thing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Man, I used to have a ton of these in my apartment." And I said, "What happened to him?" He's like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
How do you not even know? So the general public is so oblivious to the fact that there's this hardcore disc market, and you decided you wanted to reach more people. You wanted to expand beyond the Steelbook gang and the whatever.
I just figured that was the best way to try. If I'm going to truly spread the word, you can keep spreading the word to the 1% who are going to buy this stuff anyway, or you can try to reach the other 99% by broadening the horizons a little bit and incorporating this into it. And that's kind of what I tried to do. I don't know. I think it's worked, but you do have the people who are like, you changed, man. Like, I'm
Right.
not watching. I'm like, okay, I get it. If you want to find somebody who is hardcore dedicated to that, great. Like there are people out there. I was that person for a long time. It's
But you know, there are people out there, but I mean, even with me, there's a level of burnout associated with
yeah,
covering those things. How many times, I'm still doing these new release videos like once a month. How many times am I supposed to talk about the same movie on the latest release version of that movie? Okay, now
I
we've
know.
already had a 4K, but this is the 4K Steelbook. I mean, what is there to really say at this point? You're either going to buy it or you're not going to buy it.
That's the point I got to. It was like I think I've now had and like this like great that they send them to me and I get to look at them, but I think I've had like three different Beetlejuice steel books, not even including the so it's like there's the standard Blu-ray 4K, then there's like three steelbook variations. It's like, yeah, there's only so much you can say. And I even got that way, which is like doing 4K reviews, is like how helpful is this when like 99% of it is like really that this is the best the movie's ever looked? Is it going to have, not everything is perfect. It has its pros, it has its cons, but like if you're looking for the best version of the movie, 99% of the time, this is it. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
just repeating myself over and over again. Like,
It's funny because people go like, "What? Well, how does it look? Is it better?" I'm like, "It's always going to be better than a Blu-ray
it's
or
like
a
almost
DVD."
always better. Yeah. There
Yeah,
are a
it may be in the
handful of
wrong color.
cases.
They may have color graded it one direction, but then there really is there's no conversation to be had there. It's almost always an improvement, and it just
Yeah.
becomes boring. Okay, so you writing for Substack, and then this company comes to you and asks you to write this book. Had you been thinking about writing a book, or was it sort of yeah, okay.
Yeah. God, I had probably stopped and started. I think I said like 3 years ago in some video at some point, I was like, the goal for this year is like, I'm going to write a book. And like, I
You were gonna write
tried.
a book about horror, weren't you?
I was. And I still have some of that actually turned into essays that are in Blu-ray releases, like Dante's Inferno that came out from Terror Vision. Like, I stripped part of that book and turned it into an essay. It's in the booklet for that release. So like, I've also, some of that's ended up on Substack. Some of it's on Bloody Disgusting because I wrote for them for a little bit. So it got kind of piecemealed. Um, but I just couldn't like, I don't know, I felt like I didn't have the personal direction myself to be like, let me go and finish this whole thing. So the publisher reached out to me, like we have, and they were like, we want to write about this. We think it's important. And this is a topic we've discovered. We feel like you could write about it. And that's, I don't know. I don't know if it just clicked, but I had somebody to work with. Like I had an editor and I had like a managing like person over there who was like, let's build an outline together. Let's like brainstorm. Like just getting out of my own head, I think is what finally let me sit down and like format this, and write it and put it into pieces because I was struggling so hard. I can write like a blog post, give me a couple thousand words. I can write it quick. I can write, but like putting together something bigger picture was what was hard. And so I give them a lot of credit, Mango Publishing, who reached out to me. Like they definitely helped me turn a bunch of thoughts into a book that I probably would have been too lost in my own head to do on my own.
Nice.
So it is important. Like I totally get now why you need editors and why you need like these other people because you can't just be in your own head. It's so hard.
Well, it flows so well. Like I told you, I read it in a single sitting because it's very, it's I don't want to say it's an easy read. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's a compelling read and it's written in a way that is you're throwing around a lot of numbers and statistics and I mean it's heavily footnoted and sourced and that could be daunting, but it's not. And I want to compliment you on that and even just the way that the whole thing is constructed with sort of sections looking at the issue. It's a compelling read. That's the way to say it because it just draws you in.
I'll take, and I don't mind you call it an easy read because I did sort of write it to be like I am not the most polished professional writer. Like I wanted it to be a little conversational.
Yeah.
And like if you knew me, you'd probably hear me saying some of this stuff as you're reading it. If you don't know me, you felt like you could have a conversation with me. So I wrote it in a very, and like I wasn't sure how the editor was gonna, because I was like, this is not probably what they're used to. There's a lot of just like very conversational flow, but that is really what it was. Like it became a sort of stream of consciousness that, because I didn't know how long this was going to take. They thought it might take a year. I think I wrote the first draft in like 3 months because I was just like, you gave me a topic. I have talked about this a million times. Now I just got to put pen to paper and do it. And so I just like banged it out. And then I was like, all of a sudden I looked and I was like, oh my God, I'm on page 200. Like I wrote a book. And so it did just kind of flow. So I'm glad that it flows when you're reading it. That is what I wanted. It should be I didn't want it to be 600 pages and take you a month to read. Like it should be something that you kind of can digest in
Yeah.
a couple of sittings, hopefully. So
Cinema
that's
began
good.
in the 1800s with the
Yeah. Like
arrival. Yeah, right.
I didn't, it was too, I wanted it to be kind of current and feel fresh and as fresh as it can be even now, as much as stuff's changed since it came out.
Well, yeah, we should talk about that. But one of the so the thesis, well, if is that too elevated of a word for what we're talking about? The premise of the book is that algorithms are really controlling and manipulating the way that movies are distributed, seen, and that what just the simple act of watching a movie is drastically different now than it was even kind of a few years ago, really.
Yeah, I would say even like there's like a world of there's the world of the video store and the rentals and stuff that we grew up on and watching stuff on cable and HBO. And then there was the world of, okay, now we have streaming, but then there was the world of post COVID streaming and everybody having their own streaming service. That's really like the last 3 or 4 years. And it's
Yeah.
totally changed. Like 2016's streaming is so different from 2022. And it's not a huge gap. It happened quick when COVID hit.
Well, see, that's interesting because I wanted to talk about the example that you use of like let's look at a night across two different time frames. One of them is it's the 90s, right? I
Yeah,
should have
I put it in like 1990. I was like, what would my parents, when I was a kid, like, what would their night have looked like after they put me to bed? That's what I was thinking.
yeah, and it involves going to the video store and like how you select your dinner, how you interact with the people at the video store, the personalized recommendations, the sense of community, and then you contrast that with the current digital streaming era and how we're also competing with our phones, or the movies are competing with our phones and our distraction levels at the same time. And but then you've now added a third wrinkle to that because it's different even from just a few years ago. So you
Yeah.
could look at it across like three different time frames, and it just feels like a extremely rapid decline into this anonymous, disposable time
Yeah.
for movies.
Yeah, no, that's the word I tend to use a lot too, is this it's disposable. And everything, like I'll say, like I'm talking about movies because that's what I love and know, but like everything has become disposable. Like I even mentioned in there, like the example was like, well, you're gonna go and like stop by your favorite pizza place and you know the people and you play. Now it's like I gotta open my app. I got 18 notifications about DoorDash is giving me 30% off, but Uber Eats is giving me 20, and the pizza place emailed me. And on social media, I see a new place down the street that just opened. And it's like, holy shit, like what do I do? So you end up just kind of, it's that illusion of choice. You have so many choices that you don't have a choice. So you end up just doing whatever's easiest, just be like, all right, whatever. Like your brain
Yeah.
can't handle, and it has been so rapid, and like AI is obviously only making it worse because now you don't even need a human to put together an email or send a notification. They're just blasting you with stuff left and right. It's terrifying to me because I don't think our brains as humans are made for
No.
that.
The picture that you paint in the book is that, well, you should tell me, like, where are we sort of at with, I don't want you to give the book away, but what are some of the
Yeah.
takeaways that people might want to pay attention to?
I think one of the big things I was kind of on the right track and then missed a little bit because they're actually going harder than I thought they might, was like the tech companies taking over Hollywood, the Apples, Amazons, apparently now the Ellison family and Oracle, people you didn't even think might get involved are, my, in the book, I was writing about how like maybe they'll take over movie theaters and they'll try to own this kind of full circle. We own the streaming, we own the theater, we own
That
all
scared me
distribution.
too because I had never even thought about if the studio, use the narrative for a while has been like, well, the theaters are in serious trouble, and if the theaters go away, then we're all stuck at home streaming this stuff because there won't be a theatrical experience
Yeah.
anymore. And you introduced this wrinkle that no, the studios might buy the theaters so that they have the revenue generated from the theatrical experience and the streaming experience and the digital VOD
Yeah.
experience and the home media experience. Like they'd have
They
every
got it
piece
all.
of the pie themselves.
Right. If you look at the numbers, it's like it's a drop in the bucket for some of them to buy up an AMC or a Regal or a Cinemark. Like it is not like a write off, but like it's not much, especially as they keep kind of failing and losing more. Like they're not growing, so it's going to be an
Yeah.
easier thing to pick up in a year.
Well, back in the, I'm no, I'm sure like back in the 30s and the 40s, the studios owned theaters. Like we have
Right.
a historic theater in my town that was a Paramount theater,
Yeah.
and it's crazy thing, and they that got busted up because basically the government was like, well, you can't own this thing and sell the thing. You can't
Right.
own the thing that you can't control that much. But that doesn't seem to matter with any area of business these days. The idea of a
No.
monopoly or uh,
No.
yeah,
There's no antitrust, any of that stuff
that's right.
anymore. We don't have Teddy Roosevelt breaking up the monopolies and busting monopolies. Like it is, yeah. And that's what I'm scared of because and it's the same people. Like, I mean, who's running the show really right now is like the people with money, and they're the ones who also want to buy all this stuff up. So now you've got, the Ellison family who's worth $400 billion. The son buys Paramount. Now they want to buy Warner Brothers. They also now have the majority stake in TikTok. So like they own one of the biggest social media apps. They own one of the biggest movie studios, potentially two of the biggest movie studios, which also would include, because of what's under that umbrella, CBS, CNN, HLN, VH1, MTV, Comedy Central. Like they own so much, and nobody is stopping them because they're the ones putting the money in all the pockets of these people who would stop them. So it's just a real vicious. You've got the oligarchy like happening in real time, and I mean, if you look at the playbook, I'm a history guy. If you go back to the playbook, you got to buy the media and own the media and own the information. Like that is literally what's happening right now. They're
It's
buying the
some
social
of it's
media.
already happened.
Yeah, they're buying the news networks, the
Look at
social media.
Bezos. He's
Yeah,
he's he's yeah.
he's got the Washington Post. He's got Amazon Prime. I mean, he owns your shopping. He owns the big streaming. He owns information. That's what they're doing. Facebook and Zuckerberg's the same way. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 people in the country who own like 90% of the stuff. And that's wild because they can pretty much do with it what they want. Like there's no competition, which means and they're not taking any risks. And that's how movies are you need like this indie film resurgence, which I feel like is fighting back, but like at the same time, they also need some sort of financing. And right now, everybody's just owned by the richest guys in the world.
Yes,
It's
and there's an apathy from the general public too
Yeah.
that I observe. I mean, because there's so many things competing with our time and our attention. Are you going to watch? Are you going to support, a $2 million movie? Are you going to go support the Deadpool, the
Yep.
huge expensive Marvel movie? And I fought that battle for a while because I was like, what's wrong with you people? Like, these movies need your support a lot more than the big tentpole franchise, corporately created movie needs your money. And people are like, yeah, I hear you, but then they just go do the other thing anyway. It's hard to get people to care until they've already lost the thing that is on the chopping block to begin with.
Yeah. It goes back to that. That's where I see like the illusion of choice and how it's manipulating people because you have choices. You could go see all these. There are more indie films in theaters now than probably ever. There's more movies now than ever. You have a lot of options, but at the end of the day, you're so bombarded with the marketing for the big ones, and you think you're going to miss something if you don't see it and the spoilers. And so, like, when you're sitting there and you're scrolling, like, what are we going to do tonight? You're like, all right, whatever, I'll go see Superman. And like, great. There's nothing wrong with going to see Superman, but like if everyone goes to see Superman, nobody sees the rest of the stuff, then all you're going to get is Superman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I feel you, but it feels like the easy way out. It's disposable. You're like, oh, I want to go see a movie, so whatever, I'll see the whatever the biggest thing out right now is. You don't want to think too hard about will I like this, will I not like. And then there's the whole they've been trained as audiences to know well, in 3 weeks I can watch it at home anyway. So like what's if it's an indie movie, especially $2 million movie and it bombs at the theaters, it's gone the next week and in 2 weeks you can rent it.
Yeah.
So there's that of just like you've been taught not to that you don't need to spend your money because it's in your home within a month,
Right.
which is also bad. Like those theatrical windows being so tight now is not good for I think anybody.
Right. Well, I know that there's been discussion. Well, I've talked to some people inside the industry, and why are you releasing such and such movie, 4 weeks after the theatrical run? A
Yep.
short the Caught Stealing, the new Darren Aronofsky movie, was in my theater for 1 week, which is
Yep.
crazy to me. And it's getting a digital release in early October, which is just a few weeks after the theatrical run. And you're the consensus seems to be that none of the studios want to be the first to extend that window because it is leaving that money on the table for that period of time. Like you have to retrain the audience. No, you have to if you're gonna wait 6 months for this to come to home media, that means you've got to support the stuff in theaters. Nobody seems to want to be the first one to say, okay, we'll extend that window from 4 months or 4 weeks to, even 12 weeks or whatever. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be the one to say, we'll do it because it's leaving money on the table and money's, of course, driving everything.
Yeah. And the theaters have no fight right now. So I
Right.
mean, they just don't have a standing because they're not making the money.
Well, you
They
talk a
can't.
little bit about the declining theatrical experience in the book too,
Yeah,
which is a
no, and it
real
is,
thing.
and it's kind of deceiving because you look at box office numbers, right, and they're not obviously since COVID it dipped, and now it have been coming back, and oh, okay, some people if you look, you're like, oh, we're back at like 2013, 2014 numbers, like we're getting there, we're coming back, but if you actually look at how many tickets are sold like and you factor in inflation like it is way down like what 2012 was doing for that dollar number was millions more tickets than what we're doing now even if the dollar number is the same because of inflation because the prices have gone up so it is very true even as they're touting great horrors had a great year it's selling a bunch of tickets and making a bunch of money on these movies but there are still less people going to see those, even though the money is the same. So it is a declining thing. And it is because they trained people and COVID kind of broke that, where I remember being excited about it because I was like, well, I can't go to the theater. So at least they're giving us movies at home that I can watch. And that was cool for a little bit. But then I missed the theater. But that broke everything. It broke the theatrical windows and people just never like readjusted. It's the whole world. Like you talk about depersonalization, like that's what COVID was because we couldn't be face to face with people, and it just broke like society. So like everything is depersonalized and everybody just expects to watch things in their own home with no audience and like do their own thing. I've had so many people complain, and I get theater etiquette like is not great and not where it should be, but maybe you're going to the wrong theaters too.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should check out some of the smaller local ones that have a more dedicated audience of people that are curating things that, you know, I think that's probably the move as AMC and all the big chains struggle and have these massive multiplexes with nobody in them. You're going to get back down to more localized, smaller theaters with 4 or 5 screens that cater to a niche audience. I think it's always going to be there. The experience is always going to need to be there, but yeah, I don't know where theaters are going to go unless they all get acquired. And then all of a sudden you're going to have Netflix theater and Paramount theater and Warner theater. And that's scary too, because now you're only going to see their movies at their theater. Mm-hmm. So now it's like even more fragmented that you have to like go find the Paramount theater by you to see the Paramount movie. Like
that's people probably aren't going to do that.
They won't do it. Maybe no,
but probably not.
You're asking a lot when again, they know in a couple of weeks it's going to be at home. And when the studio owns the theater, if they get to that point, well, then it's all just gravy. Like they don't care. They're like, we'll take whatever money we get here and then take whatever money we get in the back end, and they own it all.
So do you see a future death? I mean, I hate to use that word, but a death of the art, you know, like I listened to an interview with Robert Zemeckis on a podcast because he was promoting that movie Here that he made, which is like for the people that haven't seen it. It's like a locked off shot of a house, and you see the house where you see that shot over hundreds, like you know, goes back to like the colonial era up till now, and he had the interviewer asked him, you know, well, what's next? What's your next project? And he said, I don't know. And he said, you don't know what's your next project? He says, we don't know if this is a success or not. None of the studios know how to gauge what has made them money or not because it has a theatrical run, which it doesn't do what it used to do, and then it goes to digital or it goes to streaming. And streaming usually loses money because there's no way to gauge properly what a success even is on streaming. He's like, back in the old days, I made a movie, we put it out in the theater, it made its money there, then it went to home video, it made more money there, then I got to do the next thing. And he's like, right now, I don't even know if I'm going to do a next thing because nobody knows if this was a hit or not. And that's from the guy from Back to the Future. So, right. I mean, what do you think is gonna, in your crystal ball, where are we headed with the survival of movies?
I think there's 2 paths. One of them is either that it turns into a pure content machine and the art form sort of is lost, especially as, you know, the people who are buying the studios are in it for the dollars. You need to make the money. And I like, to be fair, every studio has to make money or they won't exist. You got to make money. So that's
making
fine.
Money is not a problem. It's when that becomes the entire focus.
Right. And that's where a lot of these things are headed. And so you could just head into this content machine where you're just going to get, not to knock Adam Sandler, but like you're going to get Happy Gilmore too. And they're just going to crank it out. And it's going to be 2 hours of cameos and callbacks and just like audience pleasing stuff that doesn't really feel like a movie. And that's what you're going to get. Or it's going to kind of revolt, and this whole thing is it could get flipped on its head where it starts to fail so hard that they have to make a change and change the way they're doing things. It's really down to, I don't know which way it's going to go. I feel like it's going the way of content, but if people, and they say vote with your wallet, our wallets are not worth as much as these guys at the top, but like if you stop doing what they want you to do and take different actions, they have to adapt to that. They will adapt to whatever people want to do. So if people are saying, I'm not paying $25 to rent this movie at home, I want to see it in a movie theater, I'm going to pay $25. And you start doing that and rejecting some of these shorter windows and not paying for their stuff on VOD, like then they're going to open the windows back up again. And like, I think right now it's just a major crossroads though. Like I have no clue where things are going because every filmmaker I talk to says the exact same thing. Like I made a movie and I don't even know if I'm going to get paid because I don't even know what streaming service it's on this month. and regardless of which one it's on, if it streams a million times or 5 times, I'm getting the same, which is zero. So like they're not getting paid per rental anymore or per DVD sale, or like they're not making any money as filmmakers. So then you're gonna have filmmakers drop out who are like, this isn't a sustainable lifestyle. Like I can't live off of this anymore, because you can't just make one great movie and make yourself a little bit of money that can finance the next two or three. Like it's home run or strikeout. And that's it. Like that's the way. Nobody's hitting any singles or doubles anymore. There's no mid-tier success. It's just
Yeah.
it's either a huge bust and you make nothing, or yeah, you could make millions and millions of dollars if you have if you have a Sinners that comes out and you negotiate a really good deal. Ryan
Hmm.
Coogler's going to do very well off of Sinners, but
Yep.
that's one guy.
As he should, right?
As he
But
should. He should.
right.
They all should. But like that's one guy who was able to negotiate this after probably having a bunch of movies that made him who knows what. I mean, Creed, I'm sure made him money, but who knows? That was a big studio movie that he didn't have control over.
Right.
How do you even gauge the success of something like that? So,
Well, and he'd come out of the independent scene too, with Fruitvale
right.
Station, and then
Fruitvale, like probably made him nothing. That's a passion thing that he did.
yeah,
It gets you attention, but like if you can't live off of that, then these people are going to drop out. You can't be a
I
starving
interviewed
artist.
the director of Pig, the Nicolas Cage movie Pig from a few
Yeah.
years back, and he um that was I really liked that movie, and it was interesting and unique and challenging. And then he told me he was like, "Well, I'm taking studio meetings." And then his next movie was the new Quiet Place entry, the new Quiet Place franchise movie. And I guess it used to be like, well, you do one for them and then maybe you can do one for you. Now I feel like you have to do maybe four for the studio before
Yeah.
you get the freedom to do one for you. And that's if you're lucky. Sinners came after a decade plus of franchise movies. Creed 2, Black Panther. Now I love
Yeah.
Black Panther,
Yeah.
but it's a huge franchise movie. That's not a creator driven story.
Right.
Look,
And yeah,
it
he
took
did a
all of
great
that.
job with them,
Yes.
with probably the parameters that he was given, that this had to be, I'm sure Ryan Coogler's Black Panther without studio interference is a different movie. And he probably won't say that. It's still great as it is, but like it's probably different. And
Hmm.
yeah, it does take you a decade. And he had to stick it out. He did a lot of really smart business moves that are going to allow him to make some money now and hopefully be able to do more for him and what he wants to do. But it really like, yeah, I see a lot of guys do the indie movie where they have a little success and they're like, well, I got to jump into the Marvel world now, or I got to do a Star Wars movie, or,
Hmm.
do the next DC or Quiet Play. You got to do 3 or 4 franchise movies, and then you might get a shot to make something real again. And, the franchise movies are there. They're always going to exist. They're popular. There's some good, there's some bad. There's nothing wrong with them, like inherently, but to have to force an artist to do that in order to do what they want because of the way the business is, like, yeah, that kind of sucks. Because now we're not getting. How could you ever have a run like William Friedkin had, or something, where he just made a bunch of original
Yeah.
movies? Like you can't have that run anymore, because
We both love John Carpenter too. Like, look at
yeah, like that, you can't do that anymore. Even
yeah.
what Zemeckis did with some of his, any of these guys, like nobody can make that run anymore. You'd be able to do one, maybe two. Like even Zach Kreger. Here's a guy who's like had massive success, is obviously printing money with his movies and has a following, but his next movie is Resident Evil. So like he's doing the franchise movie next, probably so that he can do something original, and he's going to do a prequel to Weapons. So like he's got 2 franchise movies now lined up before he'll probably give us something original again.
Yeah.
That's his world too, even as
Yeah.
successful as he's been.
That's been the disappointment with some of this A24 stuff is you're like, oh, this is a franchise now. This was the alternative to the
Yeah.
franchise, and now even those are part of the franchise thing too. And some people are going to hear this because I know my audience. Some people are going to hear this and be like, yeah, because everything new sucks. And that's why we like the movies from the 80s. And that's too simple. I want to push back on
Yeah.
that just a little bit because it is too simple. There's a lot of good stuff that's still coming out
Yeah.
that's still very challenging and unique. And I say challenging not in the sense of, oh, it's hard for the audience. I mean, challenging in terms of um, not being pandering. Movies that don't, aren't extremely. just like the low-hanging fruit, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and people aren't going to see them, you know. That's the curse is that that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you say everything new sucks, you're missing the good things that are new, and that means you're not supporting the good things that are new, and that means good new things are probably going to be less likely to be made.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. I think the New Yorker, somebody might have been the New Yorker, posted an article the other day about like how dumbed down movies have, how they hit you over the head with stuff now because people
Yeah.
just can't like function to
I
create
saw
their
that
own
article. What was
thoughts.
it called? It was like this basically like the subtlety in film is gone now.
Yeah, it's gone. Like you
Yeah,
can't, you have to hammer people over the head with whatever you're trying to get across. And if you don't, oh, that's too hard. That's, ooh, that's a slow burn. I can't do that. Like
right,
you're going to make me think about what I'm
right.
watching. And like,
And some of
that's
it's really obvious too, but people don't like, The Walking Dead is not just a title about the zombies, it's also referring to the survivors. And people are like,
right.
what?
Yeah. Right. And
It's
it's
right
like,
there.
and you didn't need to say that in 1968 when you made Night of the Living Dead.
Right,
People understood that the zombies were, this wasn't just zombies, like this was bigger than that. And yeah, that all that just like critical thinking, the media literacy, all this stuff that's just disappeared
yeah.
is also not helping because now the studios who need to make money are going to cater to the masses who can't think for themselves, which is really a sad place to be. And that's where AI like terrifies me because it's like literally going to get to a point. Like, how far away are we from like you walking to the chain theater and like going up to the kiosk and being like, I want to see a movie about Chewbacca flying, and typing it in and then them giving you a theater and being like, here you go for $15. You can watch a movie about Chewbacca playing football. Like, like how close are we to that? Because it's definitely not something that won't like that
Right.
will happen in the next decade.
It's the plot of Rudy, but it's Chewy. Instead of Rudy, it's Chewy.
Yeah.
And
And
he's
like
the
somebody will be like, I don't know what I want to watch today. Let's make Jaws a bird. And like it's just like that's gonna happen if
yeah.
people don't start thinking for themselves a little bit
Yeah.
and like getting back to art, like media literacy and understanding art and actually critically thinking.
I'm worried that you just gave people ideas to how, like you gave studio people ideas about a Chewbacca football movie and
Oh,
a
probably. Yeah, they'll
Jaws.
make
And I
some
mean, we've already got all those shark versus what is it? The Sharknado movies and things like that.
everything.
Somebody's like, "Well, we're
No,
gonna
you're
need a
right.
bigger plane."
We're
Yeah.
gonna get some prequel story about Chewbacca in high school playing like Star Wars version of Quidditch or whatever they come up with, and it's gonna show how he became such a tough, big Wookiee. And
Yeah. And the
yeah,
trailer will have like really emotional music behind it or
it'll
something.
have a slowed down song from the '80s, just yeah, on top of it with really
Don't
dramatic
you
cuts.
want me, baby?
You know,
Yeah,
see, we just made a movie,
we did.
and that you probably pitch that, and somebody would unironically be like, maybe like
Yeah.
that.
But
That's crazy.
it cost 300 million and it only made 150 million back at the box office.
So
So,
now we're never allowed to make another movie again.
right,
Yeah, I
we're
know.
in movie jail now.
It'd be our only one, but hey, at least we made the Chewbacca football origin story.
Yeah. All right, where else should we go here? Any more predictions? Any more I'm telling you, this is an incredible look at it's everything that's happening right now. What we have, what we've lost, what we might be able to have again if we can just focus our attention on a certain area. You do mention physical media a lot. I think that's um, obvious to the people that are watching this video because, of
Yeah,
course, they love physical media if they're watching my channel and yours too. But I do appreciate that you mentioned the downsides of physical media as well. You're not just one of these rah, you talk about the expense, you talk about the space. It is a qualified recommendation for physical media.
yeah. I think the recommendation is to have a balance. To not, if you go all in on streaming and you never buy a disc again the rest of your life, well, then you're very much at the mercy of an algorithm and licensing and what they allow you to watch. If you go all in on physical media and you're, because there are people out there like, I will never pay for a streaming service. Well, then, like, I couldn't do that because I'm watching Andor right now and I'm like, that's an absolutely incredible piece of art that these people have made. For I know it's a Star Wars show, but like, damn, like they did that differently. There isn't a Jedi in sight. We don't need the Skywalker family. They made a wholly original piece of work, and I love that. I love stuff that's on Netflix, and I don't know if any of these things will exist in a few years because they're not going to get the budgets to do Andor or Stranger Things or any of that in a few years with the way things are headed. But like, there's good stuff out there. So you're missing all of that. So the balance is like, we'll just have a couple, like, have the convenience and see the great stuff that's being made for stream, because there are great filmmakers who are only getting put on streaming because that's just the way the world is right now, and they may never get a physical media release. Who would have known about Zach Krager's movie Barbarian if it wasn't for movie theaters and streaming?
But to go back to what you just said, or to tie all some of this stuff together, the idea that someone who might want to see Andor but doesn't want to pay for the subscription fee to do that might pirate Andor.
They might, and I'm
Piracy
sure
is a
they
huge
have.
thing, but then I definitely, and then they have not supported the thing. They've
Yeah,
not supported the original thing that looks good and does the thing that's opposite of, you just said it doesn't have the Skywalkers, it doesn't have Jedi. So Disney doesn't know that you like that. Disney doesn't
right,
know that you want that. It's the dollars do matter, where they're going, the voting with our wallet, and by not voting with our wallet, by not supporting something that you care about, you've sent no message whatsoever.
right. Yeah,
Tears in the rain, man. Blade Runner.
no, it's in the pirate. Like, I am sure Andor has been pirated millions and millions of times, and I'm sure that somebody at Disney might know that, but that's not making them any money. And so they truly want to see what are people going to spend money on. So even if a show like Andor comes out, or a show like, if you want to support Stranger Things, well, like, if you subscribe for a month and watch the show and then unsubscribe, which is totally fine, and I think more people should do than just endlessly paying subscription fees, you are then at least still telling them, like, they can make a connection to, like, oh man, this show came out October 9th, and in the beginning of October we get all these people signing up, and at the end of October they all dropped off. So like, something in that time period, it's your biggest show, that must have been a driver. They know that that's the content people want. They will give you more of it. If you just completely ignore it, or even if you just endlessly pay the subscription fee, you're not giving them anything. You're not telling them what you like, really.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people who pay and don't watch anything. So like, you're just giving them money and not really making your voice heard. You're not having your vote, which you do technically get when you buy things. You are voting for a product with your money. Like, you were saying, this, I like this, and I'm exchanging my money to say I want more of this. And if you're not doing that, then yeah, you're not going to get more of what you like. So the piracy crowd, as big as they are, like, I get it. Internationally too, I get it. If you can't get access to stuff, I understand why it happens, but like, sign up for the month and just give somebody an indication. Or like, I don't even know, like, I don't know, buy a band t-shirt or something. If it's
Yeah.
like, you got to do something to show people that there is support out there. If you don't, then what are you going to pirate in a few years? Because there's not going to be anything to pirate
Well, do you
that
know
you
what
want
I
to
like
pirate.
is with mute to go to music really quick. Do you know that half of the people that buy records right now, the vinyl sales, don't have a way to play those records. They're buying it to support.
Support.
They're listening to the music on Spotify,
Yeah.
but or iTunes, whatever. What's this? Apple Music. Um, but they want to support the band, so they buy the thing, and then they've got a little piece of art that they can enjoy, and they've
Right.
supported the creator that they care about, and that's just smart. There's so much apathy that I see. It's like people don't care until the thing's gone, and then they're like,
Right.
"Well, what could we? Well, this is the time to save the thing you care about before it's gone."
Yeah. And it is weird that music is a good example to look at, because they went so hard all in on digital. I mean, iTunes goes way back, iPods, at least you were still buying music then for, 99 cents or whatever it was. But that goes way, way back. People were pirating the hell out of music back then and loading it on their iPods. Guilty as charged right here. But, like, it has come around to people are getting like, oh, I have to go to the show to support the artist. I should buy the vinyl or the cassette tape or the CD, whatever it is. Like, they're buying physical objects to support the artist. They're buying the shirts and the merch to hopefully support the artists. And the movie crowd doesn't feel like it's doing the same. There's that 1% of us who I know, if I buy the easiest way to support a filmmaker right now is you have to go to the movie theater, equivalent to going to a concert, but much easier and much cheaper. So like, why aren't we doing that to support the filmmakers we like? And then buying the disc is like truly, or you could rent the movie too, but pay for it. Like that's the only way that they're going to ever see support. If you just wait for it to come to streaming, you're not supporting the filmmaker whatsoever. They are making nothing. It does not matter if 10 million people stream their movie on Netflix. They're not getting a dime from it. Like
Right.
it's making them absolutely nothing. So the music crowd has seemed to have figured it out, but the movie world not as much, which confuses me. Like if you love this stuff, support the filmmaker, or even you like an actor who's in something, you want to see them in more, like go and support their movies. And if you
Hmm.
don't, like PTA's movie that just came out, which is not getting support, like you're not going to get more movies like that. That's it. It's going to be the end. They spent 120 million bucks. They're not going to make their money back at this point. They're going to lose a lot. Well, do you like PTA's movies? I think a lot of people end up loving them after a while, but like if you don't show up and you don't buy that when it comes out, or you don't rent it in a few weeks, what are we doing? What message are you sending other than we don't want that?
Yeah.
And if you don't want it, truly don't spend, like, it's not up to everybody to have to be like, I have to support a PTA movie because he's film and I'm a cinephile. Like if you don't like his stuff, don't support it. But like you got to support something,
Yeah.
somebody or some filmmaker.
But you just hit on something that I think is true. They're compared to the music audience and other audiences too, like comic book audiences,
Yep.
or all these different mediums.
Even books. People
Yeah.
buy physical books like
Yeah.
gangbusters right now. It's crazy how many sell.
Absolutely. But movie audiences are very apathetic. There's like,
Yeah.
eh, whatever.
Yeah. Somehow
Not
that art
everybody,
form,
not
no,
everybody, but
no,
a
but somehow
large.
that art form to the masses has somehow become kind of a, like a shrug of like, yeah, it's a movie. We always
Yeah.
get them. They'll always be here. It's like, I don't know why that happened.
Yeah, when I had one of my movie theaters close last year, or maybe it was even earlier. I don't know, time has no meaning anymore, but it really doesn't. But it was they're turning it into a gym. It was a AMC and they closed it and now it's being turned into a gym. And I was so upset. And I shared this on the internet and people just did not care. My audience was like, good riddance. I'm like, what do you this was actually like actively negative, like anti-theater. I'm like, man, you're gonna miss it when it's gone.
Oh yeah. Seriously. Like what? That's such a universal, like for 100 plus years, this thing has existed and we're just like letting it disappear. Like
Like a drug.
imagine if they were just like, yeah, you know what, we're not going to do anymore as a society is like live music. Sorry, like we're just not going to do that. I mean, that would suck.
Mhm.
Like, why are we not? Hey, we're going to close every museum and you can only look at art now on Google Images. Like,
Yeah.
that would suck. Like, why are we not? I don't get it. And every industry has gone through this, which is why I am hopeful that maybe movies come out the other side, because it happened to books and ebooks and everything else, and all the bookstores that closed and now are coming back in a way. It happened to music. Like I am cautiously optimistic that movies make the same turnaround based on what these other worlds have done. But it does feel like the movie world is very apathetic about it. Like you have to care, and that's why those other places turned around.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's enough of us that care. I know there's a solid, like the people listening, they're so like, no, I care. I'm like, I know we care, but like, how do we get the 99% of everybody else? Like, how do I get my parents to care about movies again, who loved movies, and now I go to their house and they play Candy Crush while they watch a movie,
Oh,
and I'm like, how do you even do that, mom? Like, put it down and watch the movie. She's like, oh, I saw it. I looked up and I'm like, no, you didn't.
I
You
looked
didn't
up when the
watch
music
it.
got loud and it told me
Yeah.
to look up.
Or when
Yeah.
the script that they wrote to make sure you pay attention said the thing to make you pay attention because they know you're not watching. Like, crazy. How do we get those people back to like, it's like the technology warped them. I have this theory that there's like a younger generation that is going to help us because they were raised in a world that only had technology, and they're like, I hate this. This isn't right. And you're seeing like the Gen Z kids like buying VHS tapes now. And I'm like, yes, like you get it. Like this is not the right thing.
Yeah.
And there's people who are our age who like grew up with it, know the before times, lived through the uprise of the tech, and are now on this end of it and are like, this isn't right. but there's a whole group of people who like got introduced to technology as much older people
Yeah.
and are just it's just like consumed them. Like they can't break out of it. And it's a huge part of the population. So
Hmm.
that shift needs to happen too. I think time is you're going to get these young kids, I think, who do truly believe in like a world that is not just tech and phones in your face and tablets and stuff. But it's a big shift. It's a big shift. And I don't know if it's going to stick with how much gets thrown in our face all the time. It's only getting worse. It's so hard to like push back against it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. So much of this is in the book, Lost in the Stream. I just keep holding it up and talking about it. Um,
Every time you hold it up, I sell 5 copies. So please keep holding it up.
Lost in the
And
Stream.
you make $5, right? I paid you to hold it up a certain amount of times. So
Uh-huh. It's really well done.
thank you.
Thank you for writing this. I'm glad that it exists. We are better that this book exists.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I would have been happy if one person read it. So I'm glad that anybody's reading it and it's resonating. It means a lot to
Doing
just
well, right? Isn't it doing really well?
it's been yeah, I mean, I'm no like New York Times bestseller or anything, but it has ranked up there on Amazon a few times as a bestseller in certain
Hmm.
categories
That's what I saw.
in
Yeah.
the movie world. And you know, I don't have any numbers yet, but
Okay.
it's out there. I can tell from the messages people send me, and it's got a lot of reviews on like Goodreads and stuff. So, and that helps tremendously if people have read it, like leaving the Amazon review or a Barnes and Noble or wherever you bought it or on Goodreads. Like that is kind of how these things gain. This is what I've been told as somebody who's never written a book before. This is how these things gain traction because you're never going to be with your first book like make a bestseller list and make a splash. But like, I think that this hopefully over time will find more people and really find those people outside of the ones who know me, who are probably like, you know, they're nodding their heads through the whole book, like, yes, yes, yes. Like I wanted to find those other people too. And that's how it will. And that's how we can try to make a change is like, maybe somebody will read this and the light will go off. And that was my hope as much as to preach to the gospel here that we already know like yeah we feel this way like I do want it to hit some people and make some conversions hopefully.
Yeah, we're preaching to the choir on some of our platforms, but if some of the people that are watching this or have read the book, go share share the gospel with people that aren't
It helps.
avid.
Yeah,
Yes. I mean,
yeah,
it's a
I never
grassroots thing.
buy a copy for Christmas, give it to your dad and be like, dad, stop watching movies while you scroll on your phone. Here's why. Like anything. Like I made my parents both read it because I was like, you guys need to read this. You need to read this and like do better. So
Do better.
so yeah, hopefully it gets out there. But I do appreciate the support so far. It's been crazy cool. So I'm glad
Wonderful.
anybody read it, and I appreciate all the kind
Well,
words.
I'll put a few links in the description of this so that people can easily so there's no excuse not to be like I couldn't find it.
No, you can get it anywhere, and if you want to support indie, like it's on bookshop.org, which is a cool place that I've recently found out about
Mm-hmm.
through selling books. Like you can pick your indie bookstore from if they're on the platform and like actually buy it from them, but through this like bigger website, and they get more of the cut than you know Amazon doesn't
Yeah.
give a cut to anybody. So support your indie stores. Ask your local stores to order it. They can all order it. It is like not. I didn't self-publish it, so like it's on a list somewhere they can order it. So if you ask, they can order it. Ask your library to get it. Whatever you got to do, like you should be able to find it. It's pretty much everywhere, from what I've been told.
Yes. Do you anything else you want to tell people before we go? Or you want them to go check? Obviously, you're very visible on social media. I think about the viewers know that probably, but
Yeah, I mean, if you search my name, you'll see on my profiles. You also see some fun Reddit threads about me. So I mean, do with that what you want. Don't search my name too hard. I mean, I guess that means you kind of made it when there's a Reddit thread about you. It shows up in Google about how much
yeah.
people hate you. But yeah, if you search my name anywhere on the platforms, you'll probably find me. But yeah, just share the book and let me know if you did read it and what you thought and criticism too, honestly, because it's the first book I've ever written. So like, I do appreciate the constructive criticism that people have left. I don't appreciate you telling me I suck, but and not giving me any reason why. But if you have constructive criticism, I'm open to it because I have never written a book before. So please tell me what I can do better if I get a chance at a second one. I'd love to hear it.
Well, I think you did a great job. I think
Thank
it's
you.
a highly readable account of something that a lot of us need to be paying attention to and being involved in because we do control the future.
We do.
It is up to us
There
what's
are
going to happen.
billions of us and only a few of them. So, like, who's really in the power? It is the people. You just got to do it the right way.
That's right. Fight the power.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, it's so good to talk to you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you for everything. I appreciate the support over the years. You earned that spot in that book. I was happy
Page
to include you in there.
187.
Page 187. If you get it, you got to look at it. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.